What is going on, my friends? My name is Andres Martinez, and I help people experience the Holy Spirit so you can remember who you truly are. And today, I want to talk about the levels of energy. The book by Frederick Dodson has been one of the most life-changing books I've ever read. Also recommended by one of my awesome freaking $100 million entrepreneur, Scott Olford. Go check him out as well. But guys, I want to just go over some of the notes I took on that. Specifically to do with the levels of energy. All right, so first of all, I want to go over why is this scale even important and why is this like crucial? Why am I even making this video right now? So everything in life, as I've shared in some of my other videos, is made up of energy. And every single aspect of life, whether it's a thing or a place or a word or anything in all creation, actually corresponds to a certain energetic level. Now, this might be a little bit crazy for you guys if it's the first time you're hearing these concepts, but I hope you're more familiar with this and that this concept start to transform the way you think about what is true and what is not, what is real and what is just indoctrination, right? From just the collective consciousness. And guys, we are currently living in a matrix, okay? In the, like kind of like the matrix, right? It's this reality that is not the true reality, if that makes sense, because the true reality is all made up of energy. All right, guys, so I want to just dive right in, and I want to start from 0 to 1,000. So 0, guys, is the most demonic, the most despicable, the most decay, the most death, and actually hell starts going into the lowest astral planes, into the minus 100, 200. I have no clue. We don't really know of that. But after that, from 0, the next like jump up is 30. Okay, and 30 is level of guilt, is the level of shame, is the level of psychosis, is the level of humiliation. Okay, that's level 30. Then after that, we go into level 50, which is apathy, which is despair, which is depression, hopelessness. Okay, so you can see how, like, if someone is, in a state of that, you can tell that they're vibrating at that level. And now you might be asking, how do you know these levels? Guys, there's been so much research done, and there's so many things that correspond to this scale. Again, I would recommend read the book by Frederick Dodson. He is amazing at explaining this stuff, but I just want to give you a nice little rundown and breakdown of this because it's very important for you to start getting familiar with the levels of energy so you can start to not only interact and recognize and discern, but also that you can start to choose the reality that you want to tune into, the plane that you want to tune into. And as you'll see, we'll get there. But yeah, just so you guys get a nice container of what that is. 0, as I said, is the most demonic, death, decay, like, okay. 1,000 is Jesus, okay. It's been so far the only human that has reached that level of enlightenment, that level of connection with God, where there's no, human in him, and he could able to like transfigure it into his most divine body, his most divine self. Okay, so as I said, 30 is level of guilt, 50 is apathy, 80 is grief. Okay, grief, sorrow, self-pity. Okay, 100 is fear, it's worry, it's shyness, it's paranoia, it's insecurities. Okay, and so again, these levels will be a really good indicator. And as I say them, check where you're at. Check where you're at. Just got my notes here. All right. Then 100 is fear. 120 is craving, need, lust, right? Unfulfilled desire. Okay. It's that, craving that we get, right? Like the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh. That's 120 right there. Actually, I think lust of the flesh is 120. Lust of the eye might be a little bit higher. I'm not sure on that fully. He doesn't go into that, but that's my own realization. Okay, 160, anger, domination, aggression, right? So if you see someone that's like, like in like just pure wrath, for a fact, he's in like 160. Okay, then the next one up is 180. Okay, 180 is complaint, blame, antagonism, criticism, right? Like you can think of people that debate a lot, that want to like correct people, that are very like that. Those people are vibrating at like a 180. And again, all of us have pockets of different levels. I'm even there to say that we all have even things in the whole range, you know. But we're talking about what's your vibrational frequency that you chronically vibrate at, your average. You know, each person might have an average low and an average high and an average, right? So that's that, you know, discontent, blame, like all those things, right? 190, we go into pride, into arrogance, into, you know, superiority. You know, it's this, you know, feeling, right, of just I am like, you know, self, like pride, like bad guys, bad. 200, we go now into the next level, which is the mid plane. Okay, everything I described from 0 to 200, it's the low level, which is where like fear is the most prevalent. And as a matter of fact, you and your biofield is basically just reacting to like everything in life. You have very little control, very little free will, very little choice, because you're being affected even by forces that you don't really understand or that we can't really know and comprehend. But the higher you go in vibration, the faster you are able to like unplug from the matrix, and you're able to be so much more self-aware, and you are the one that now it's affecting the field and not the field affecting you. But we'll keep going. So 200, now we go into the level of routine, into the level of functionality, into the level of boredom even, right? So this is the classic person that you see, just the 9 to 5 guy, and like no disrespect anyone that has a 9 to 5, right? There's all kinds of people, but I'm just talking about like the overall society of like the 200s, right? Like it's just this society, right, that just goes into like, you know, the day-to-day, the routine, the monotony, right? So that's 200. 275, now it's courage. Okay, we're talking about relaxation, we're talking about eagerness, we're talking about fun, right? And as I say that, you probably like picked up something there, because a lot of people that are in the 200s, they're like craving to go on a little vacation once a year. Why? Because they don't experience that relaxation. So their vibrational level goes from 200 to 275 when they go take that vacation, and they come back to their miserable 200, right? And again, 200 is a lot better than the 0 to 190 or 199, but still so much more to go, because as I said, it's up to 1,000. And again, this is numbers, like don't be attached to the numbers and to the scale in and of itself, because it could have been demonstrated in like a 1 to 10. It's just more for like the purposes of us understanding it with like our conscious and logical mind, if that makes sense. The next one up is 320, which we go now into willingness. We go into what did I write there? Sometimes my writing is horrible. Yeah, willingness, kindness. You see, now we're starting to get some traits of like love and selflessness as we go up the scale. Willingness, kindness, activity. Okay. Then we go into level 400, acceptance, surrender, right? Interest, attention, right? Like you can hold a conversation. You are like so much more eager. You're accepting of things, right? We talked about in one of my videos about the end of all suffering, how it's the release of desire and the release of resistance, the release of both at the same time. And that is when you start getting into that level of like 400 or so, which again, still in that mid plane, but you're now starting to get more intellectual. You're starting to dominate, you know, more of like the things that you see. You're not being as affected by it, okay? Then we got 450, which is intelligence, knowledge, reason, right? Like inventors, like, you know, any kind of, you know, person that you can think of that has written books, that has like very studious, like, you know, Plato, like, you know, people like that, very intellectual. Those are like 450, okay? Then we go into the next level, which is the higher level now, okay? So notice how we went from the lowest, 0 to 200, mid, 200 to 400, and then high, 475 basically to 1,000, right? So here it goes. 475, joy, creativity. And is that first spurge of creativity where you're now feeling creative. That's 475. But again, just because you do a little bit of an activity that's creative doesn't mean you're vibrating at that level continually. Okay, you got to ask yourself, are you constantly at all times in joy? The answer is no. Then you're probably not vibrating at that. I'm not even vibrating at that personally. I don't think so. I'm probably in the 200 to 400 range. Okay, the next one, 505, beauty, creativity, imagination, right? So now we're getting into this hyper creativity, this hyper imagination, right? This hyper like beauty, right? Like you're starting to observe the beauty in life and you feel so refreshed. Then you got 510, power, initiative, integrity, right? Like this is when you start feeling like, oh man, like you're this person, right? 530, we go now into love, into intuition, into appreciation, right? So you see, as we go up the scale, there's more love, because really, if you were to just divide it into two, you got love and you got fear. That's really the only two emotions, my friends, that we all have, and all of the other ones are just shades of it. Okay, 540 now, we go into humor, happiness. You know, it's just this like zest of life, you know, when you're at that point. Then we go into 550, unconditional love, agape love, right? Like this is like the highest level of love that you can, you know, at least as a human start to experience. Obviously, there's so much more, right? As I described in one of my other videos about infinity, right? Like this, the infinite love. Like, you know, we won't know that until we are like away from this body. All right, 570. You got now ecstasy, exaltation. Fun fact, my friend, an orgasm is a glimpse of 570. God created sex, my friend. So imagine, we, you know, most people only see a glimpse of that, but it has to be an orgasm with all your intention, all your love, all your attention with your spouse, because sexual immorality, my friend, you will, even if you get married, you will not be vibrating at 570, because sexual immorality is actually something that, you know, pulls you back down to like 125 or so. So careful with that as well. Okay, 600, we got bliss, we got peace, we got serenity, we got lightness, right? So we're in this like state of like bliss right at this point of like peace, like 600. Then we got 700 where like duality completely disappears. You're now in like oneness and unity. You're in like this vast awareness, right? It's just this hyper super functionality of your brain and your senses and everything, right? And then at the very, very top, we got like 1,000, right? Which is, I guess, to say like infinity as we can experience it the most in our body, and divinity, right? Like that's when you access, you fully access and embody your like highest divine self. So that's it, my friends. There you got the scale. I hope this was awesome for you, and that you like start to enjoy it, and you start to discern it, and you start to experience it. Take care, my friends.